just when fans thought the Dipset drama was ancient history. Camron and Jim Jones light the fire again, and while hip-hop heads were picking sides, Chrissy Teigen dropped a Netflix bombshell that no one saw coming. Just when fans thought the Dipset saga had finally reached its peaceful conclusion, a sudden flare-up between Camron and Jim Jones has reignited one of hip-hop's most dramatic partnerships turned rivalries. The Dipset movement, which once symbolized Harlem unity and unapologetic swagger, is now once again in the headlines, but this time not for a tour, a track, or a reunion. It's war again. Or at least, that's how it looks on social media. A brotherhood born in Harlem. Let's rewind for a second. The story of Camron and Jim Jones isn't just about two rappers from New York. It's about family, loyalty, betrayal, business, and an empire that influenced an entire generation. Back in the early 2000s, Camron and Jim Jones, alongside Joel Santana and Freaky Zika, formed the Diplomats Dipset, a rap collective that brought Harlem's grit, fashion, and flamboyance to the forefront of hip-hop. Dipset wasn't just a music crew. It was a lifestyle. From pink furs to aggressive street anthems like Dipset Anthem and Oh Boy, the group dominated mixtapes, music videos, and the streets. Camron, always the lyrical and visual frontman, was seen as the visionary, while Jim Jones slowly transitioned from hype man to respected solo artist. Behind the scenes, the business was booming, but the cracks were forming. From diplomats to divided, the Dipset story has long been marked by ups and downs. Fans remember the tension that boiled over in the late 2000s when Camron and Jim Jones began throwing subtle jabs and, eventually, direct shots at each other in interviews and tracks. Cam accused Jim of going Hollywood, while Jim claimed Cam was holding people back. The internet, of course, turned it into a soap opera, and as time passed, both went their separate ways musically. But like all great hip-hop stories, reconciliation came. For a while, in 2018, the crew reunited for the Diplomatic Ties album and a national tour. For fans, it was nostalgic bliss. Interviews suggested peace had been restored. Cam and Jim sat side by side on radio shows, laughing, telling stories of the past, and even joking about their old beef. It felt genuine. That's why what's happening now is such a shock. The new fallout, what happened this time? Over the last few weeks, tensions between Camron and Jim Jones have once again boiled to the surface. It started subtly, Camron posting cryptic Instagram stories, including quotes like, "Some folks only loyal when it's beneficial to them," and "Snakes don't hiss no more. They call you bro." Jim, for his part, wasn't silent either. He took to his own social media, sharing behind-the-scenes clips of past Dipset moments with captions like, "Some things should have stayed buried." The internet did what it always does, connected dots, fanned flames, and made sure the beef went viral. Then came the bombshell. Camron released a freestyle on his sports commentary show, It Is What It Is, where he took lyrical shots, clearly aimed at Jim, though he didn't name drop directly. Lines like, "Used to be my brother, now you Twitter with the shade, got rich off my wave. Now you act in like you made, left no room for doubt." Jim clapped back in an interview, saying, "I love my brothers, but I'm not gone. Let nobody play with my name like that. Especially not someone who watched me put it all on the line for us when things got tough." So, is this real beef? Or just another episode in the never-ending Dipset saga? Why fans are Dipset fans are some of the most loyal in hip-hop. For them, Cam and Jim's friendship was more than just repeat, was a symbol of Harlem's strength, street loyalty, and brotherhood. Seeing them fall out again has left many fans torn. Some fans are backing Cam, saying he's the one who kept the brand alive and has every right to speak his truth. Others are riding with Jim, praising his growth as an artist, entrepreneur, and someone who's matured past the drama. A Twitter user posted, "Cam gave us the blueprint. Jim gave us the grind." Watching them beef again is like watching your parents argue at the dinner table. On Reddit, one Dipset thread went viral with fans analyzing Cam's lyrics like biblical scripture, trying to decode if it's about Jim or just general industry frustration. But the bigger question remains, why now? Theories and speculations believe this latest fallout has less to do with past beef and more to do with business. Jim has been heavily involved in reality TV, fashion, and partnerships areas that may have clashed with Cam's projects. Some insiders speculate a disagreement over branding and Dipset licensing may have triggered the tension. Others suggest that Cam's growing popularity with his sports show where he and $E discuss everything from basketball to street politics may have rubbed some the wrong way. Jim has always been vocal about wanting his own voice in media, and competition may be playing a role, and let's not forget the personal element. Ego, pride, and history often make reconciliation harder than it looks, especially in an industry where loyalty is constantly tested. And every Instagram post can spark a new headline. What this means for Dipset's legacy for those who grew up on the Purple Haze and Come Home With Me era? This isn't just gossip, it's history rewriting itself. Every time Cam and Jim fall out, it casts a shadow on the legacy of Dipset. What was once seen as an unbreakable unit is now remembered just as much for its internal drama as it is for its music. That being said, no one can deny the cultural impact of Dipset. From fashion to slang to sound, they shifted the hip-hop landscape. Whether together or apart, Cam and Jim's influence runs deep. But fans can't help but wonder, will this beef lead to another diss track? Or is it just smoke without fire? Closing thoughts, brothers or rivals? At its core, the Camron versus Jim Jones saga isn't about bars or business, it's about brotherhood. These are two men who came from the same streets, built an empire, and weathered countless storms together. That's why every time they clash, it hits harder than a rap beef. It's personal, and in hip-hop, personal always makes headlines. Only time will tell if this is the final chapter, or just another verse in an ever-evolving Dipset story. But one thing's for sure, the streets are watching and listening. While the streets of Harlem buzzed with the rumblings of Dipset drama, Hollywood was hit with its own unexpected headline. Chrissy Teigen, the model-turned-entrepreneur and social media powerhouse, has inked a surprise deal with Netflix. Not for a cooking show, not for a reality series, but for something nobody saw coming. In a time where every celebrity move is dissected and decoded, Chrissy's latest pivot has left fans and critics stunned and curious. From Twitter queen to Netflix dealmaker, Chrissy Teigen has always been a master of reinvention. Whether you first discovered her as a swimsuit model on the cover of Sports Illustrated, as the witty co-host of Lip Sync Battle, or as John Legend's fearless, unfiltered better half, Chrissy has always been Chrissy. Loud, relatable, a little chaotic, and apologetically herself. But what really set her apart in the digital age was her dominance on Twitter, now X. With millions of followers hanging on to her every hot take, sarcastic jab, and culinary experiment, Teigen became a kind of pop culture lighthouse, signaling trends, clapping back at trolls, and making headlines just by logging in. Then came the fall, the Teigen tumble, public backlash, and redemption in 2021. Chrissy found herself at the center of a major social media scandal. Past tweets and DMs resurfaced, exposing instances of online bullying towards several celebrities, including Courtney Stodden. That shocked even her most loyal fans. The internet didn't hold back. Cancel culture kicked in hard. Brand partnerships faded. Teigen stepped back from social media, publicly apologizing and expressing regret. "I was a troll," she admitted in an emotional post. "I was insecure, attention-seeking, and thought I was being funny." It was a dramatic shift from adored to avoided, and many wondered if she'd ever fully recover. But Chrissy is nothing if not a comeback queen. The Netflix shock. What's the deal? Fast forward to 2025, Chrissy Teigen just announced a multi-show deal with Netflix, headlined by a dark comedy drama series where she's not just starring, but also executive producing. The project is titled Lip Service, a fictional series, loosely inspired by her own life in the public eye, a former social media darling navigating scandal, motherhood, fame, and media manipulation. Wait, what? That's right? Chrissy Teigen, often known for cookbook drops and kitchen dancing, is making her acting debut in a scripted dramedy. And the storyline sounds way too familiar to be coincidental. Netflix has described it as a sharp, satirical peek into the life of a woman, balancing viral fame and very real demons behind the screen. It's funny, biting, messy, and very real. The announcement dropped without warning. No cryptic teasers, no slow PR rollout, just a sudden wave of press releases. A teaser poster with Chrissy in a Glamview-haunted stare and a simple caption, "She had the followers, she lost the control. Okay? Now she writes the rules." Why it's surprising to understand the shock? You have to realize how far this is from her known brand. Chrissy Teigen's empire has largely been lifestyle-driven cookbooks, Cravings cookware, and guest hosting family-friendly shows. Sure, she's always had a bold voice, but acting? In a scripted drama that leans into her own controversies, that's bold. Risky even, and that's exactly why it's making waves. It's making waves. Entertainment reporters are calling it a career pivot no one expected. Industry insiders say the show has Black Mirror meets Fleabag vibes, dark humor, fourth wall breaking, and biting critiques of fame and cancel culture. In a twist, the show is reportedly co-written with an award-winning female showrunner from HBO. Though the name hasn't been publicly confirmed yet, the internet reacts. Shock, skepticism, and support. When the news broke, social media exploded, and in true Chrissy fashion, so did the memes. One viral tweet read, "Chrissy Teigen, playing a canceled version of Chrissy Teigen in a Netflix drama about Chrissy Teigen being Chrissy Teigen." This simulation has a plot twist. Reactions were mixed. Supporters applauded her honesty and willingness to own her past through art. "This is how you use your platform. Tell the messy truth," said one fan. Skeptics weren't sold. "She's monetizing her scandal again." Another posted neutral observers were ... intrigued. "Okay, I kind of want to watch this. It sounds wild." The teaser trailer hasn't dropped yet, okay, but behind the scenes still show Chrissy in a very un-Chrissy mode. No makeup, emotionally raw. Scenes, dramatic monologues, and even moments of self-parody. It's not about looking good. It's about telling a story. Her story fictionally blurred. Of course. What this move says about her and the industry, Chrissy's pivot tells us something bigger about fame today. Cancel culture isn't a full stop. It's a comma. It can fall, disappear, reflect, and then repackage the pain into content. And in Teigen's case, very lucrative content. Hollywood loves redemption arcs, but even more, it loves messy, self-aware storytelling. Just look at shows like BoJack Horseman, The Morning Show, or Beef. Chrissy seems to be leaning right into that genre, but with her own chaotic charm. Also, let's be real. Netflix loves a controversial figure who brings eyeballs. This is a calculated move on both sides. For Chrissy, it's image repair plus a chance to prove she's more than memes and banana bread. For Netflix, it's buzz, debate, and probably millions of curious clicks. Will it work? That's the million-dollar question. Chrissy's supporters have stuck around through thick and thin, and she still commands a huge following. If Lip Service manages to be smart, emotional, and funny, and if Chrissy can actually act, this could redefine her entire career. But if the show feels too self-indulgent, tone-deaf, or poorly written, it could backfire hard. Still, the gamble itself shows growth, vulnerability, and guts. This isn't a Chrissy who's trying to go back to being America's quirky BFF. This is Chrissy Teigen making peace with her mess and daring us to watch. Closing thoughts. The power of the pivot, love her or hate her. You can't ignore Chrissy Teigen. She's mastered the art of turning the internet against her and then right back in her favor. This Netflix deal, particularly the bold and risky nature of lip service, is the most unpredictable yet strangely appropriate move she's made. And perhaps that's the whole point. In a world where everything is content and every downfall becomes a documentary, Chrissy's simply ahead of the curve, writing her own redemption arc before someone else does. And Netflix, they just got themselves the most talked about show before it's even aired. We're living in the golden age of drama, not just on stage, not just in film, but in real time, real life, and real social feeds. The Camron versus Jim Jones beef, and Chrissy Teigen's unexpected Netflix leap may seem like stories from two different planets, Harlem street corners versus Hollywood red carpets. But under the surface, they're part of the same storm. In a world where attention is currency, both hip-hop and Hollywood have learned the game. If you can't escape the drama, you might as well own it. Better yet, package it, sell it, stream it. Let's unpack this collision. Welcome to the era of hypervisibility. Back in the day, celebrities had layers between their personal lives and public personas. Tabloids chased them, PR teams controlled the narrative, and a private life was still somewhat possible. Today, that line is gone. Cam single quotes Ron airing out grievances on Instagram stories. Jim Jones replying through interviews and cryptic clips. Chrissy Teigen making a show based on her cancellation. What do these have in common? Narrative control. And in 2025, narrative is power. Whether it's a diss track or a scripted Netflix series, both hip-hop and Hollywood stars have learned that if the world's going to talk about you, you better talk first. Cam Ron isn't waiting for blogs to guess what's going on. He's rapping about it. Chrissy isn't waiting for a documentary about her controversy. She's making one disguised as fiction. This is modern fame, weaponized transparency, beef or business. Let's be honest. In hip-hop, beef sells. Always. Has Dot from Tupac versus Biggie to 50 Cent versus Ja Rule to Pusha T versus Drake. Fans don't just listen to the music, they follow the story. It becomes sport, theater, mythology. Mythology.cam single quotes Ron and Jim Jones know this. It's been through it before. So is this recent tension genuine resentment? Or a well-timed promotional play? There's a theory floating around online that the Dipset drama has been reignited as part of a strategic rollout. Cam's been getting traction from his hit sports podcast, It Is What It Is. Jim's been expanding his TV presence and might be lining up a new album. Coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. We've seen this playbook before. Kanye and Drake beef. Then magically go on tour together, Cardi B and Nicki Minaj feud. And both drop singles, Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly. One word, ratings, even. In wrestling, they call this a worked shoot, where real feelings mix with scripted drama for maximum audience investment. Hip-hop just does it with better beats and IG lives. So, when Cam posts a half-serious diss, and Jim claps back through podcast interviews, we have to ask, is this real life or reality rap? The Teigen parallel, turning pain into product. Now, let us jump coasts to Chrissy Teigen. Her Netflix show, Lip Service, mirrors her life almost too perfectly, and that's the genius. She's not just telling her story, she's reclaiming it. We've seen this strategy before. 2. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's series. Demi Lovato's music and documentaries on her overdose. Even Britney Spears turning her trauma into memoir success. Hollywood has mastered the art of the redemption arc. But Chrissy's move is different because it's preemptive and performative. She's fictionalizing her fall from grace, dramatizing it, and inviting the audience to laugh with her instead of at her. Much like Camron flipping rap beef into viral podcast moments, Chrissy is flipping cancellation into a starring role. It's not about hiding the mess. It's about owning the mess so no one else can use it against you. The currency of controversy. Let's zoom out. Why are fans so obsessed with these stories? Why do we care who unfollowed who posted what, or what cryptic lyrics really mean? Because drama is digestible, relatable, and, frankly, addictive. We follow celebrity beefs the way previous generations followed soap operas. It's episodic, it's emotional, it's exaggerated, it's content, and now the celebrities are in on it. They're directing it, producing it, and casting themselves in it. Jim and Cam are dropping hints like plot twists. Chrissy is dropping a teaser poster like a Hollywood thriller. And the internet eats it up. Memes, hot takes, reaction videos, TikTok breakdowns. Every feud is a season. Every comeback is a premiere. What happens when culture collides? This is where it gets really interesting. Hip-hop and Hollywood used to live in different zip codes, one on the block, the other on the soundstage. But in 2025, they're neighbors. Better yet, they're co-creators. Jim Jones has done reality TV. Camron is dominating digital sports media. Chrissy Teigen is writing scripts based on scandals. There is a crossover happening. Hip-hop artists becoming media personalities, and Hollywood stars becoming culture commentators. Even fans now expect celebrities to give them both, the music and the mess, the performance and the personality, the art and the algorithm. When Cam talks about loyalty and betrayal on his podcast, and Chrissy writes about public shaming on Netflix, they're doing the same thing, leveraging personal narrative as cultural capital. What it says about us, the audience. Let's turn the mirror for a second. Are we the problem? Are we so addicted to celebrity chaos that we expect drama to be part of the product? When Cam and Jim reunite, we want the music, but when they fall out, we want the dirt. When Chrissy cooks, we cheer. When Chrissy cries, we click. We don't just want our icons polished anymore. We want them cracked, complex, messy. We want to see the fall, the apology, the glow dash up. It's not just entertainment, it's emotional investment. We pick sides. We argue in the comments. We become part of the story. The blurred line between real and reeling the end. The biggest theme tying all this together is the collapse of boundaries. Camron versus Jim Jones isn't just a private feud. It's a content loop. Chrissy Teigen show isn't just fiction. It's a reframed autobiography. And we, the audience, are both consumers and creators. In 2025, everything is part of the rollout. Every post is a potential plot point. Every feud is a future collab. Every cancellation is a potential comeback if the narrative is handled. Right? So whether Cam and Jim squash the beef next week, or Chrissy wins an Emmy for playing a parody of herself, one thing's certain. Fame isn't just about what you do anymore. It's about how you tell the story and who's watching when. You do. So here we are. Harlem Heat, Hollywood Scandal. And a hyper-connected world where the truth doesn't matter as much as the version of the truth that trends. Cam single quotes Ron. Jim Jones. Chrissy Teigen. Different backgrounds, same battlefield. The timeline. The camera. It's a comment section. And as long as we're watching, sharing, reacting, they're winning. Because in the age of cultural collisions, drama is the product, and we're all subscribers.